Hey, this is Mo Royce from Tragedy, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious Podcast.
One, two, three, four. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
Yeah, doing good.
You guys are here in New York City as well, right?
Yeah.
Nice. So we can just jump right in and talk about Tragedy if you like.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know where to start. I've got a lot of questions. So first off, let's for those not familiar, can you give us like the 2-sentence elevator pitch?
Sure. Well, we are Tragedy, the all-metal tribute to the Bee Gees and beyond. We started off doing just the Bee Gees disco era hits,
Right.
and then that was our first album, and then from there started exploring, doing other artists as well.
Okay. So let's I found out about you guys from the Bee Gees stuff early on, a couple of years ago, maybe through whatever. And so don't take this the wrong way. Very gimmicky, but really, really well done, where you get well beyond the gimmick stuff and go, holy crap, this is good stuff. When did you finally realize, or when did it come to you that, hey, this is more than just cover songs or fun cover songs. We can actually do something with this.
Well, it did absolutely start as a gimmick, purely as a gimmick, an idea on paper. What happened is we were offered a weekend of shows at Irving Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
And promoter contacted us and said we didn't have this band together. He knew our other bands at that point, and contacted us and said, what kind of fun kind of concept can we come up with for this weekend of shows? So we just came up with that idea, and we're like, well, that's cool. That's kind of exciting. Like heavy metal, Bee Gees, like these opposite things and whatever. And then before we even played those shows, we made a couple of demos and started getting offered all these support shows because people love the demos. They love the concept and stuff. And then we played our first show at BB King's. We were supporting the Aquabats, and we walked out on stage in our tight satin and spandex and immediately elicited a response. And then we start playing the music, and that created a response too.
Right.
And so it was very early on that
everybody was thinking,
what's that?
And everybody's thinking spandex and the whole deal. It's going to be cheesy, but then it's not.
Oh, it's plenty cheese. There's plenty of cheese in this casserole, but we do like we so it's truly inspiring for us. That's the other thing that happened. Right. Like not only did audiences respond to we were all songwriters and never done something like a cover band or a tribute band or something like that. And we found that doing this, like kind of reinventing music and putting on a show like this, was also really creatively inspiring.
Right.
And so to stay true to that inspiration, we just always try to make it like just great music, like something, not like, so many novelty artists who, they may be really funny. There's a joke and you get it and, pass it along, you share it and stuff like that. But, you're not going to listen to it. It's not going to be your favorite album on repeat. Right. But yeah, we always want to be something that you can enjoy on many levels.
So, and I think that goes back to my point earlier. I 100% get it. Once you start listening to it, they're great. I mean, the songs are great. And I think the funness or the attitude you bring is super needed in the world we live in as well, right? People need an escape, and it's such a perfect way to escape and have some fun and put a smile on your face.
It is. It is, we definitely bring levity to the world.
That's the word I was looking for.
But
Yeah.
even more than that, we bring people together who just wouldn't normally be. And I mean that is kind of the concept, like
Right.
doing heavy metal guys playing disco songs, right?
And you do
Um,
so, yeah, and you guys do so with this great list of songs, like even beyond the Bee Gees now. I'm looking at what is it, I Am Woman, or the
yeah,
whatever. And I mean, the list of songs, that's like everyone's, or at least in my generation, that's like what I heard listening growing up in my house. All those songs, before metal, or even when I was home listening to metal, my family listened to this. I know every one of those really well.
right. Yeah, we try to find source material that's really part of the DNA of the culture.
Yes.
And because that's going to make it more interesting
Right.
for people. Yeah.
And it works. I mean, I'm just looking at the track list here. I'm so excited. All that stuff. I Will Survive, She Bop. Those are great. Did you guys have a hard time narrowing it down to those 14?
Well, yeah, we usually on an album we'll work on about twice as many songs as that, what will end up on the album. So not only do we have to find like a compelling source song, we need to come up with a compelling version of it. Something that's really worthwhile, something that we're excited about
Right.
doing. And sometimes it can be very elusive. Something like I Will Survive. We've been talking about doing that song basically since the beginning of the band. It's just such a part of our culture. And like so many disco songs, it's very repetitive. The chord progression is just the same the entire song. And the original starts off as a ballad, and then it's with the same chord progression for the entire song.
Right.
And it's a beautiful piece of music the way it was done originally, but we have to metalize it. We have to really kind of dig into the drama and stuff. And doing it just always eluded us. And then we're working on this album, and it was brought up again. It was like, come on, the concept is I Am Woman. We have to have I Will Survive on there.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, we should, but we can't come up with a good version, so we can't. And it was just bothering me. And I remember I woke up one morning with the idea of, deconstructing it, and, how it could be deconstructed. And the idea is to kind of go into the emotion, the kind of the dark side of that song. And because it's there in the lyrics, it's being told in the story.
Right.
In the original, she's like saying, I'm over it now. It used to be grim and dark and stuff like that. But we kind of dig into that side of it. The
Which
anxiety.
It's very metal, right?
Yeah, that's very metal.
Right. It kind of flips the script. That's pretty neat. So, I mean, I was reading your bio and looking at your list of songs. You guys definitely have a sort of theme or message in what you chose as well, right? They weren't just random. There's kind of like a overcoming or a theme of positivity through these songs as well, right?
Sure. So it's kind of about, as best as we can do, about the experience of life as a woman.
Right.
But then, so it's not all empowerment songs. As you dig into music by women, they're not always singing about empowerment, or they're not always singing about romance, they're not always singing about that. So it really covers like, just we tried to, in 14 songs in 46 minutes,
right,
try to get, include many aspects of womanhood. So, and then we try to reflect it on the cover art here too. We have, the romance, and we have, disco metal is just the flaming disco ball. That's just pure tragedy.
Right.
The sword, she's a warrior, she's a fighter, she's a mother. Unfortunately, on the album cover, I'm having a hard time. There it is.
No, I got it.
The baby Lance that she's stuck with. and yeah, she fights for liberty. That's the torch and all that. Um, so yeah, many different themes, like, and you go through the songs on the album. You have "The Freak," which is about partying, and "I Will Survive," which we know what that's about.
Right.
"She-Bop" about masturbation. "Memory" about kind of losing your youth and how that can crush you. "Lay All Your Love on Me" about jealousy. So it's very rich with themes.
That's great. And you guys, I saw that you guys are taking this out on the road with Steel
We
Panther.
sure are,
With
man.
Steel Panther. I mean, I can't
Yeah,
think of a more perfect matchup, I think.
yeah, it's going to be a good time night after night. Really looking forward to it. 6 weeks on the road with them across the US. And then we're home for a few days and go to Europe for a month. We're out with this band, Nanowar of Steel,
Oh, yeah.
which is in the US. They haven't really been here yet, but they haven't been to the UK yet. We do pretty well in the UK, so we're taking them with us to the UK, and then we get to go with them to Spain and France and Portugal. It's great to be teamed up with people who are in our very tiny genre of
Yes.
like, kind of fun, somewhat satirical, definitely comedic metal.
Right,
There's not a lot of us out there.
no, there's not a lot of you out there, but you guys do it really well. I mean, I think you and I don't know Nanowar yet, but I mean, you and Steel Panther, while there is that sort of levity and fun to it, it's not done ridiculously cheesy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we
Sure, there
all
is.
have the objective to rock really hard,
Yes.
and yeah, Nanowar Steel too. I mean, those guys go so deep into their comedy and rock so damn hard.
That's awesome. And I imagine it's going to be really great bringing that sort of break from people's everyday life, especially in the world we're living in right now, right? People need that little suspension of reality, just like a movie or something, to just walk away and laugh and have a good time and sing these old songs.
The most common thing we hear from people who just saw a show is the next day their face still hurts from
Yeah.
smiling.
And that's beautiful, right? You can't ask for anything better.
Yeah, yeah, and it brings people together who wouldn't, normally go to a show together.
Right.
Even like couples and stuff. One of them may be a metalhead, and one of them just doesn't care
Right.
for metal at all. And then they come see a tragedy show, and it's like, wow, we both like the same concept.
Yeah. But I'm a super metalhead growing up, but if you look through my vinyl collection, it's got like every Bee Gees album as well. So I was really onto you guys from the beginning because, sure, I listen to Slayer, but I'm also listening to How Can You Mend the Broken Heart at the same time.
That's music lovers.
Right.
And, even if we kind of identify, like when I was a teenager, I was like all in with like, punk rock culture. Right. But I loved music, and I loved music even before I got into punk rock. And, when I was 9 years old, I got into music from the 50s.
Right.
And then when I was a punk rocker, I was rebelling against the other punks and listening to classic rock and stuff like that.
Right.
And that's the thing. And it continues through the generations. We have, of course, so many fans who weren't alive when this music from the 70s and 80s was coming out, even some band members too. But they know this music because they love music. And when you love music, you get curious about all the stuff that happened before.
Yeah. That's great. I applaud what you guys are doing. I think it's great and well needed. What do you guys have planned after the tour? Are you continuing the work on music or planning ahead?
Yeah. So when we get back from Europe, we're going to do some touring in the US.
On your own?
Yeah. As a double bill, it's but I can't. It's not announced yet. So
yeah, no worries.
And then hopefully some festivals in Europe in the summer. We'll see. We used to do that every year. We would do a national tour of the UK, some European dates, and then go back in the summer and hit a bunch of festivals. And it's still like, we're still kind of getting back up to speed with the pandemic and all that. But it should be a very busy year of touring. as far as working on new material, we haven't begun the new album.
Mm.
But we have an idea. We'll see what happens with it.
You
So we
must be
have this
you must be
idea that,
brainstorming lists of songs, right?
yeah, or concepts or something.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason for concepts, we with an album, like, it's kind of fun for a listener, I think, but it actually focuses us, because there's so many songs to choose from out there.
Right.
But we're batting around the idea of songs of Broadway. This album we do Memory from Cats, and we're like, man, this is so dramatic.
Right.
It'd be incredible to do a whole album like that. But we'll see. I don't know. I think, some people kind of hate Broadway. Some music lovers really hate Broadway, but hey, a lot of music lovers hated disco and
Right.
that, and we
Maybe
bring
you'll
them
be
on
the
board.
bridge.
Yeah, that's right.
So lastly, just because you mentioned it, what is it like now touring post-pandemic? Do you find it more difficult to get in the mindset or the prepare for that sort of thing, or is it a show and you just go?
It's been a wild ride. We were pretty much the last band standing in Europe in March 2020. We played London as the last day of our UK tour on March 14th, 2020. And it was really weird. Like, those last few days, like, ticket holders started not showing up, and
Right.
It was crazy. And we were like, well, see, close down for a few weeks, and
Right. Nobody could have predicted.
we'll see it. We like, when we left, we announced our dates coming back in the summer. And that now it'll be over 3 years since our last trip to the UK.
Right.
So since then, since 2021, we've been doing some regional touring, and we went to Canada for a week last year. It's when we were first coming out of it, the first shows out of kind of, lockdown and restrictions and stuff like that were just amazing. It was amazing for everybody. Everybody who saw, any kind of concert,
Right.
or went,
Energy
whether
is
it's
phenomenal.
comedy or whatever it was, just the amazing feeling of being together again. And that, kind of continued for a while. People really appreciated that they could go out and go to concerts again. And then it kind of, and the last, I would say, since last spring, it's felt relatively normal.
Mhm.
There's been some bumps along the way. I think, someone gets COVID, we have to cancel a show, stuff
Right.
like that. And, so that's, you add that to the list of your worries going out on the road, is that, someone could get sick
Right.
with COVID. But that's just on a long list of concerns like that. We're so excited to be going out. And, night after night, bring the joy to the people. I don't know if you can hear this. My cat, Gordon Lightfoot, is going nuts over here.
Oh no!
Have you heard of him at all?
I saw him stick his head in.
Yeah.
But that's all I've got then. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks so much for talking with me.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
You got it, man.
Good luck with the tour. Stay safe.
Thanks. Good luck with your mom.
Thank you.
I hope everything's okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.